I would do it like in between an off season and a contest prep. So instead of the cookie cutter DNP protocol that everybody, oh, you start your contest prep with a 2-week DNP cycle, deplete all the glycogen. You can do that in 1 week with fasting.
Steve, what's your fasting protocols for competitive athletes? Now that you've fasted so much, and you
Man,
become an expert on
it's still difficult. It's still difficult to get these guys to fast. They're so scared.
What would
to
you
lose
do?
muscle.
What would you do if you had a competitive athlete who you knew was, or not even a competitive athlete, but someone who you knew was undergoing stress on his body, or particularly from food, like an athlete? Would you do something like periodic fasts every 3 months, 2 months? Because we got questions on this. People were like, "Hey, can I just fast for 6 hours a day? Would that work?"
It's
And
not
that
the
does
same.
something different. It's different.
Yeah, it's not the same. I mean, it helps with insulin sensitivity, but does it induce, autophagy? No.
Exactly.
Intermittent fasting doesn't improve autophagy. So, and it doesn't improve digestion. From my experience, because a lot of people, they shorten their food window and then they still eat the same amount of food. So during this time that you're eating, the burden of food is actually increased because now you're trying to force more food through your intestinal tract in a shorter period of time. And that's why intermittent fasting works well if you're on holiday, for example. That's the only time that I do it. You skip breakfast. You don't pick out at the hotel buffet. You go do your sightseeing, you walk around, you get your cardio in, and then you have your lunch, your dinner. That's intermittent fasting on a holiday, right? Perfect time to do it. But if you want to have athletic performance, a high level athletic performance, you need to eat. But there's also periods in time where you want to kind of reset everything, the insulin sensitivity, the digestive tract, right? And not have this chronic saturation of glycogen stores in the liver, in the skeletal muscle, and even in the brain or other tissues of the body. Right. So then you would fast maybe 5 days if you can stomach it, but you start slow. You take it day by day because a 5-day fast for many people is completely intolerable.
Yeah, you start with a couple of days.
Right. So I read up on Jason Fung 4 years ago, and he's like, yeah, do a 5-day fast. Okay, I did it. But I've been bodybuilding for 20 years. I know how to suffer, and find mental cues around the suffering.
He tells people to do 1 week. He always says
1 week. Yeah, well, I mean, but in his case, it's for diabetes.
Diabetes.
Like I don't have diabetes.
Yeah.
So he's trying to reset metabolic disorders. And I'm sure in that case it works very well. I would do it like in between an off season and a contest prep. So instead of the cookie cutter DNP protocol that everybody, oh, you start your contest prep with a 2-week DNP cycle, deplete all the glycogen. You can do that in 1 week with fasting, and it's way cheaper and a lot less stress when it comes to free radicals and oxidants, in the body. So you would just stop eating for a week. You reset your digestion, you reset cravings, you optimize the deloads because I feel that it works way better. Maybe you get a little bit of autophagy, but in most cases, you're so backed up with glycogen that you don't get any autophagy, and the drug still continues, right? The drug intake. And then most guys would optimize the most amount of lipolysis, which actually acts as an anti-catabolic agent, because the clenbuterol, the growth hormone, and whatever other pharmacology is involved, probably prevents autophagy as well, because you always make sure that there's plenty of fatty acids available to keep cellular processes going. So there's different reasons why you want to do a fast. Is that for a metabolic disorder? Is that for fat loss? Is that to optimize your digestion? Is it to resolve non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? And I feel that now that I've experimented with real fasting and fasting mimicking diet, I think for most of the things that we want in bodybuilding, the fat loss and insulin sensitivity and getting depleted and upregulating particular processes in the body, I think that fasting mimicking is ideal.
Yeah.
Because you still get to excrete all this bile acid that binds up with the fiber. So you actively detoxify all the cholesterol and the bile acid and the metabolic waste products and all that stuff. And if you're fasting, like what I used to do, like full fasting, you just drink water and you get your micronutrients in from supplements, then unless you're mega dosing baking soda, which helps to bind a little bit of this bile acid in the intestinal tract and promotes excretion, this also reduces the lactic acid buffer in the bloodstream, which now allows all the metabolically active tissue in the body to dump their toxins into the bloodstream. And now your creatinine is sky high. Your creatine phosphate kinase is sky high because you remove the lactic acid buffer at which particular cells detoxify. They detoxify into the bloodstream, then the liver, and then the bowel acid, and then the intestinal tract. So there's different methods to do it. And then you really have to assess what you want to do. You want to do it for fat loss. You want it to optimize your digestion, to reset an off season for insulin sensitivity. There's different strategies. Some guys that are behind on prep, I make them fast 1 day a week. And I've been doing this the entire time after I reintroduced the food. You have your cheat meal on Sunday, a little bit of a refeed, and Monday you do fasting mimicking. Right? Caloric intake is maybe 300, 500. And then Tuesday you continue to eat again. That's very sustainable. You don't need a GLP-1 receptor agonist for that, because most guys are not hungry the day after their refeed or cheat meal. You just have a little bit of vegetables to fill your stomach.
That's so that's the question then. The question becomes, what's the reason to fast? I mean, one thing that's fasting has become very popular. So people like to popularize on YouTube, say that, oh, if you cut your calories down and you're cutting, for example, you actually will lose more muscle than if you fast for a few days. Their point really to say that was they're trying to say you're not going to lose that much muscle when you fast. You shouldn't. I don't think you should be fasting to try to lose body fat. That's not your. I don't think that's the reason. There's, I think, two health reasons to fast. One is to do something called time restricted eating, which you call intermittent fasting. The person who called it time restricted eating is a guy called Sachin Panda. I highly recommend to the audience to buy his book on Amazon. It's a 200-page book, Circadian Code. Wonderful book, very easy to read. It'll change the way you think about your health forever. Sachin Panda is actually the father of circadian rhythm research. If you think about Walker, the sleep guy, this is his father, the circadian guy. He invented the whole research of circadian rhythms. He's really interesting. He's at the Salk Institute. Don't listen to his interviews. You won't be able to pay attention. Read the book, but because he talks really monotone, to be honest with you. But he's a cool guy. So that is time restricted eating. What does that mean? You wake up, the first time you take in a calorie, you set your time, and then the last time you take a calorie, that's the end of your time. You consider that the time period that you ate during the day. What's the goal of that? Keep it the same time every day so your body knows what to expect, and minimize the time under 12 hours. Every hour you bring it under 12 hours, you get tremendously improved insulin sensitivity and all that other stuff. So this could protect you, like Steve was saying, from diabetes or these kind of metabolic issues. This could be great for your health in the long term, could probably make you have cancer less because you're not growing all the time, probably less autoimmune diseases, less GI stress for sure. I can tell you that as somebody with Crohn's disease. I've been doing this for years now. The other thing that you can do is something that's been most popularized by Walter Longo, who created the fasting mimicking diet that Steve was referring to. Walter Longo actually has a company called Prolon, in which they sell you the actual food to take during this fast. And he's done studies on the fasting mimicking diet with people with cancer, showing to improve chemotherapy and improve autoimmune diseases, arthritis, and so on. What is the periodic fasting interesting for? What it does is puts your body in a state of nutrient deprivation. Your body has sensing pathways like mTOR and AMP kinase that sense whether you're starved or fed. If you're starved, your body goes into cellular repair mode, and like Steve was saying, autophagy. And you actually kill some bad cells, you reuse proteins, that's called autophagy, and you basically go into repair. On the other hand, when your body senses it's full, it's always growing. Growing is not great for cancers or for longevity in general. So the idea being that originally it's all started with caloric restriction. Years ago, people realized that if they ate literally below their maintenance constantly, well, they realized that if rodents did this, they would live much longer, 40% longer. There are humans that do this. They belong to the caloric restriction society. They're always cold and uncomfortable. So instead of being cold and uncomfortable, people thought, hey, could we eat normally for a month and then fast for a few days? And how many days would it take for our blood markers to start showing we're in autophagy? Well, it seems that happens for most people around the third or fourth day. So the idea is to get to the fifth day or so that you get a little bit of autophagy every so often. I used to do this every month until my wife got pregnant, and then I've been binging on all kinds of foods. I got fat, and then all kinds of interesting things happened. But I used to do that all the time. I'm going to go back to it. I highly recommend you guys try it. You could try 1 day at a time. Just try 1 day, try 2 days. Now, another thing, Steve, is this I've been looking into recently. I've been thinking about it, let's say. How could you optimize the fast if we're guys that like PEDs? How could you do this faster? So one thing I was doing for a while is using rapamycin on the first day. Don't do this, people who are listening. Rapamycin is very dangerous. It shuts off your growth pathways properly in your body. That's what a guy with androgens who has mTOR shot up would need to do to get into a proper fast, probably. Metformin wouldn't be enough probably either. And we could talk about whether metformin can override those androgen receptors. But anyway, I started with rapamycin. Now we were talking about MK677. Right? We know that growth hormone increases the first 2 days, and it's via ghrelin. So maybe if you weren't that hungry, MK677 could exaggerate it too. What would thyroid do? Thyroid would also stress out the body a little bit more. Some people were talking about adrenaline in the first couple of days, because adrenaline also puts you in that stress mode and nutrient deprivation mode. You start spending. That's what happens in the first 2 days of the fast. By the way, you have more adrenaline, so you burn more visceral fat and so on. So anyway, I was looking at doing more PEDs next time. I've only tried rapamycin and allopurinol. Also, during a fast, your uric acid will rise. You have to take. You don't have to, but I take allopurinol so that I don't have. Because I used to fast every month. I don't want my uric acid every month to go high. Uric acid is an independent risk factor.
So I was just going to ask you what is like the indication of autophagy, and you mentioned elevated uric acid levels. So I've never seen my uric acid levels elevated. So I probably never induced autophagy, even though I fasted for 6.5 days in a row.
Because you were so muscular and
muscular, right? And I usually do it in an overtrained state, which I would expect a little bit of recycling of protein, right? But apparently that never happened. But then again, my uric acid is always in range. And unfortunately,
mine is always in range, except during the fast.
Yeah, so even during the fast, it's in range. But in most cases, there's some pharmacology involved, which probably prevents autophagy, right? So there's so many ways to approach it, and I'm gonna do one maybe in August, or at least before I get back on cycle, before I take steroids again, and then see how my experience is then. Because now I've done the fasting mimicking diet for 6 weeks. And I need a little bit of a break from that, Even though like fasting mimicking diet with a GLP-1 receptor agonist, like 1 week on the fasting mimicking diet felt like 1 day with conventional water fasting. So 5 days of conventional water fasting was as strenuous mentally as five to 6 weeks of fasting mimicking. It was way easier.
Fascinating. I've never tried it, by the way, personally. I never tried it. I'm interested.
Give it a try.
My wife.
My blood work is almost perfect now.
Yeah. But you did it for weeks consistently?
6 weeks.
That's insane. You were eating 1,000 calories for 6 weeks?
No, 500 per day.
You were eating 500 calories for 6 weeks?
What do you think I looked? I dropped 30 kilos.
Fasting mimicking diet is 1,000 calories, 50% from fat, 50% from carbohydrates. 800 calories on the third and fourth and 50.
So I did vegetables only.
Well, you did. Wow, so you didn't do fats.
No, I didn't. Olives. Okay, I wanted to resolve this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I mean, when you see the before and after ultrasound on the
no, I'm sure it works, but it's not. Walter Longo's is really focused.
I didn't read that book.
Yeah, the more you have carbohydrates, the more your insulin could be there, and it could negate the fast. So, in fact, they're really focused on fats. If it was just fats and 800 calories, that would actually be ideal. But they put the carbs in there to help people out and stuff like that.
I just have vegetables, so I realized I had to brute force this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because every supplementation protocol that I did
by the way, what
for 6 months.
Vegetables? Because you used to be eating only salmon, and I'm so curious. How are you preparing your vegetables?
I just make a salad. I just toss stuff in.
What do you put in?
Wait. Oh, no, we're going to get the comments.
Do you put like, no, not comments. I'm just curious.
I just said tossing the salad. So it's very easy. I go to the grocery store. I get everything that's green and colorful, and I throw it in a bowl. I rinse it and I eat it.
Oh, no, mine is complicated. I have all kinds of like different spices I put on it. I have hummus. I have baba ganoush. By the way, these are not my foods. Don't think because I'm Arab I eat hummus and baba ganoush. These are Lebanese
baklava
foods.
All day long.
So stereotypical, but I put them with my salad, because when you mix it with the salad, you start to feel, and I put like ground walnuts. I do a lot of things to try to make it feel adventurous, because I'm not a cow. I can't graze all day. But I try to make the salad like feel like a real meal, like almost like it had some meat or spice in it.
It's like 400 or 500 grams of salad, and then I throw in a protein source and a little bit of fat to make it ketogenic and anabolic, and then that's what I do now. But before then, I had 3 huge salads per day. And a GLP-1 in the morning, and then I would cruise along. But to be fair, I did do a cheat meal in the weekend because, I have a relationship and we'd like to go out.
Still the same place?
Yeah, same place. Yeah.
The same sandwich?
Same sandwich, same stuff every week. I
gotta try. When I come to Thailand, you have to take me there.
For sure. I'll get you a discount too.
That's a deal. By the way, I think Derek is falling asleep on us. Even though, by the way, Derek,
I'm finding there's these 2 peptides that I had. I'll put it in the chat, and it's when you were talking about mimicking a fast.
I have this.
This is something I took note of like a year ago, maybe, and it was
that's a peptide, right?
Yeah. I forget. I honestly don't even
Copper.
remember the mechanism of action by how this works, but this is just a note I have in case you want to look into these. These were very promising for the reasons I am about to post in here, but it will not seem to let me. Let's see.
So I have GHQ copper or GHK copper peptide and TB500 and BPC 157 here ready for an experiment. And I will run each of them separately and then by themselves.
This second one I had never heard of at the time, so this is why I took these notes. And let's see. Honestly, these might be like not even really make sense what I'm writing. And this, you know, the people watching have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about right now. And this is like very unorganized notes, so I'm not even going to present it. I'm just giving it to you, Leo, in case you want to dig into it further. But this is, I was going to make a video on this, and then it was just so extrapolated, and I didn't even know where to get the second peptide. So I just kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of topics I have on my to-do list that eventually just end up being like a year old that I don't touch because I'm just like on next thing so much that stuff I wanted to look into.
Is this coming from a Discord group? The way this is written is yeah.
This is the group that you were potentially going to be in.
Is it the group I was invited to?
Yeah, I think the same one.
I left that.
Yeah, so we have like we have mutual friends in it, but they you talk to them outside of the Discord now, so it's not like you would need to be in there to get this information now.
It's very unorganized Discord groups. But I get tagged in messages.
I'm a forum guy. I don't know how to do this. I'm a forum guy. I'll always be a forum guy. I don't know how to use Discords. People are talking in voice messages and that stuff, right? They send voice messages?